Hello, everybody. My name is Elihu,
And this is Peter.
and you're listening to Pineapple Chunks.
Yes, and we're talking about IPFS once more.
So,
Why?
well, we've recently just learned a lot more about IPFS, and we want to add on to what we previously said on our last episode. We got a comment on the last episode from Ryan Haney. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. And he taught us a good amount of new stuff, right? I mean, apparently
Yeah,
IPFS is not as secure as me and Peter originally thought.
He wrote us this huge essay.
What a champ.
Very good, though.
I learned a lot.
I'm very
honestly.
appreciative of it. I know Ellie is too.
And so we are making this video just to kind of break all this down and teach you guys what we learned as well. So let's go ahead and get started.
Right. So first things first, let's start the chain of events that occurred for Ryan Haney. So we posted a video. We published a video called "Jack Ma Found" and the introduction of the new internet, which is otherwise known as IPFS. And then Ryan Haney says, "I dig what you're going for here, and applaud you for digging in. A bit of advice: you should probably research IPFS a bit more before posting a video, as many of your comments were misleading." Ouch.
Heard a little bit, but
We
we're
are
open to criticism.
open to
That's fine.
criticism. Elihu hopped on this. He's like, "Thank you for your feedback. What comments did you find had inconsistencies? We're happy to learn more from you." And he hits us, dude. Ryan Haney, just honestly, just reading this, he goes into it deep. You want to read what he's written so far, and then maybe
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
just simplify it, because Elihu has a tech background. He has a degree in computer science, and he understands and he codes a lot in many languages, so he could dumb it down for people like me who don't necessarily understand the mechanics of it. But it's very simple, trust me.
So IPFS is a decentralized file storage network that resists censorship. It's not just for censorship imposed by the government, but any entity such as YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, etc. It is not based on blockchain. Okay, we did mention all of that in the last episode. When you visit a URL like https://youtube.com, the first thing that happens is the domain name, i.e. YouTube, is translated into an IP address. Once your browser has the IP address, it opens up a connection to the machine at that address and downloads whatever the machine decides to return. In this case, the YouTube main menu or homepage. This is called location addressing because the domain, youtube.com, points to an IP address, which is tied to a single internet-connected device, i.e. a single location. So that was a really cool breakdown of information on how the modern HTTP protocol works. And he goes on to describe how IPFS is different in that regard. When you import a file to IPFS, a cryptographic hash of the file's contents is calculated. The hash is a series of characters that are said to be unique to the file's contents. If the file's content changes, the hash changes. Once the import is complete, the file is accessible by other peers on the IPFS network. A peer connected to the IPFS network anywhere in the world can ask the network for that file and buy the hash. Let's say the hash is a crazy string of characters. This results in an IPFS URL of IPFS : / that crazy string of characters.
Which is basically like the URL of the IPFS world. So
Right.
HTTPS, like Ellie just said, is what we're using now. So you do HTTPS : / YouTube. Then in this case, it'd be IPFS : / a bunch of random letters, which I'm sure they'll probably fix later, right?
Well, I don't think we have to manually enter that, no.
Right, that would be disturbing.
I think we give a name to that specific hash, and I actually don't know.
this is horrible. Like,
Maybe Ryan Haney can help explain that even further. But
or
for those of you,
maybe to the security of it though.
So, well, yeah. For those of you who don't know what a hash code is, it's basically a very unique series of characters for anything or content page. So it's like a website's unique fingerprint related to like humans. And so this form of addressing is called content addressing, which is different from location addressing, which is what HTTP does now. And it's when a peer asks for this file, the query or the request spans the network, looks through the network, and eventually the only node you imported the file into is found. A node being a machine in the world that hosts this page or this file. The file is transferred to the peer that requested it, and the peer can verify the received data was indeed the file it requested by recalculating the hash. So it almost like reverse engineers whatever it was asking for and make sure the hashes match. There are now 2 copies of the file on the IPFS network. This sounds great, but there is a catch. IPFS nodes only keep files that are pinned. This means unless your peer pins the file, like if Peter has the file and he pins it on his device,
Pinned.
Unless he does that, then it'll be garbage collected, which is essentially your computer's little like Pac-Man who likes to eat all the stuff that it knows is not being used anymore in order to free up some space and avoid like bugs in like the code of all your systems. It's pretty neat. It sounds great. Okay, so this garbage collection process will remove the file after some time. The file will remain on your IPFS node until you remove it.
Nice.
So unless you unpin it.
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah. So a regular URL can point to a video, like the YouTube homepage, but if YouTube decides to take this video down, or not the YouTube, let's say the URL is pointing to this video right now. YouTube can then decide to take this video down, and then that video is, or that URL is gone forever. But with IPFS, where am I?
With IPFS, it would be...
It points to the content itself. So you decide when you no longer want to pin the content or pin our video, but someone else can decide to pin it forever. So sure, I can have the content and I can pin it for a certain amount of time, and so all my other peers can access it, but I could also remove it and they can no longer access it. However, let's say Peter also pinned the video, but he set it to be pinned forever. The peers can still access it, just not with my node, but with his node instead.
Yeah, that's what's the problem with that IPFS hasn't solved yet, that they aren't able to host like a site like YouTube because it requires so many different places to go to, or nodes or addresses to calculate. And databases in a sense are like centralized, right? Like, I mean, unless it's all pinned and under some. The thing is that there's a cost to pinning a video. I mean, it takes up storage in your hard drive, so that is a cost. I mean, it's not like money, but in a way, it's like a bank account. So but it's like a piggy bank though. So the piggy bank is only so big, and so it can only be, there's only so many things that could be stored. And if you want to store files in there or whatever, it costs. You have other videos on there, whatever it may be. So
right, and we mentioned Filecoin in the last video, but this guy also mentions Filecoin and how it is a blockchain-based project right now that uses IPFS under the hood to store files. So it's almost like a service. And he also mentions Pinata.cloud, which offers IPFS pinning for a fee. So that's pretty cool. I'd be excited to see if other companies start this out.
So they pay you to use like a hard drive space to hold something.
Yeah, just like hosting. Like
it's like, almost like, but what if it's like
like if you have too many cars at your house but not enough garage space, you just kind of like ask somebody, hey, can I rent some garage space? And they host your car in their garage for like a fee.
Yeah, but what if it almost seems like, so for example, if you have a video of like, say, a politician doing something really like nasty, like it's almost like a drug dealer saying like, hey, hold my drugs for me at your house. And like, but like what if you live at home? Like your parents find that and you get in trouble? Like that could be dangerous. So you should be compensated in some way, shape, or form. And Filecoin is interesting in that sense, to compensate that risk.
It is risky because we also learned from Rainey that it's not as secure as at least I originally thought. Sure, there is some sort of anonymity to it all, but if you are, so you're given your own ID, in the IPFS network. And so if you are hosting a bunch of pages and sending them out from the same location, it's kind of easy because that information is public. Your ID is now public on the IPFS network. And so if you're sending a lot of pages and hosting a lot of static files, then it can be pretty easy to track you down in your area and therefore your IP address. And so someone can find who you are. Sure, there are some ways to get around this. Like there are some IPFS gateways where you can. It's basically it works kind of like a VPN. You're kind of like anonymous, but you don't benefit from a lot of the IPFS network's features, which include hosting static files because you don't really have something to tie that to or an ID specifically, and you also
Static files being like videos, like one video or something.
yeah, like things that don't really require a lot of database queries are static files.
And isn't like always updated.
And yeah, exactly. Because there's like dynamic files, which are essentially files that are dynamically changing.
But wait, so it's not as secure because people can find out where you are based on your IP? But if you have a virtual private network or a VPN to cover that?
So there are gateways. There are
okay.
IPFS gateways that you can use, which kind of provide a level of anonymity to your ID. But that has some drawbacks. And so
let's go back to I'm going to pull up the comment again.
And so another comment that he added was that IPFS will not replace all servers, but it may eventually replace servers that host static files. Dynamic, personalized sites like YouTube still require a database, like we mentioned. Textile.o has a database that might be worth looking into. Fleekdyke.co makes it easier to host a website on IPFS. A project that spun out of IPFS is libp2p, P2P meaning peer-to-peer, which provides the building blocks for P2P applications. IPFS uses libp2p at its core.
What is that libp2p? So
Library,
that's a part of
peer-to-peer. It's probably just
probably. And that's fleek.co?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so he also referenced that we mentioned Google in the last video in regards to an analogy where I'm trying to fetch information from their servers. Instead, I can just fetch it from like Peter, which is right next to me. He assumed that I was either talking about YouTube or Google Cloud Platform. I just want to verify that I was. I just said Google for short. But yeah, specifically Google Cloud's platform and their services and their hosting. IPFS does not guarantee privacy. We kind of went over that. He provides a link to the IPFS.io concepts privacy page. And then we also brushed up on Netflix in the last video and whether they were using IPFS or distributed streaming services. This guy right here says they do not use P2P or peer-to-peer as far as he knows, but it's been said that they are looking into IPFS. So
yeah,
that's
I
cool.
actually did say I thought they use peer-to-peer networks. But what I was referring to really was the fact that they use different data centers that are located closer to, say, the person calling the information. So if I'm in Miami calling for, I don't think this is even on Netflix, but like Real Housewives or something, then it would go to the data center in Georgia as opposed to the data center in, Alaska, say, for example. Now, don't rail me on the comments here. There's probably no data center in Alaska, but just for metaphorical
there might
points.
be. It's pretty cold there, so you want to keep the service. I don't know why. It's kind of far away. But
well, Ryan Haney, your attention to detail is impeccable, I have to say, and very much appreciated that you really did go into the weeds with this.
Yeah.
And you helped explore these things. Why don't we look at what these links are? Pinta.cloud.
Piñata.
Piñata? Oh, it's Piñata. So it's a Spanish thing. Let's do it. Piñata. Oh, there's a YouTube video. Let's go. Okay, wait, hold up. Let me pull this. Oh, it's not YouTube. Never mind. It's not a YouTube. So they have a nice mascot. The easiest way to use IPFS. Piñata simplifies immutable data with our easy IPFS API and toolkit. What's interesting about IPFS, though, it is just like a foundation to the total house of what is the internet. So other technologies like this build what is the internet. So this might be like a wall, and the next one that we'll go into, maybe Textile and Fleek, would be the roof and whatever. So you can try it for free. Service provides speed and stability required for production applications. Easy API, divisibility, data resiliency, blockchain. Easily combine blockchains like Ethereum with IPFS for immutable off-chain data storage. Is off-chain like a private ledger or something like that?
I
You
don't know the answer
I
to
don't
that.
know.
No.
Yeah.
I've never really heard of off-chain.
It was just for there's a Medium article. Well, definitely not gonna read that. It costs money.
It's not free. Nothing is free.
Oh wait, hey, 1 gigabyte of storage is free, but unlimited storage is 15 cents a gigabyte per month. Damn. So
not bad.
hey, if you have terabytes, you could get paid to host very naughty things. But granted,
I mean, they don't have to be naughty either. They can just be anything regular.
But why would people pay you if it's not naughty, right? I don't know.
Out of
That's my thing.
out of the goodness of their hearts, they just want to put regular content on the IPFS network.
It could be like a will actually. So it's like, oh, this is my will, or I have a lot of money and I don't want it to get lost. Can you please just hold it in here and I'll pay you?
Or your private keys for your Bitcoin wallets.
Oh damn! But then they have them.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, you can encrypt.
Maybe
it.
you can encrypt it. Yeah, maybe. But that could be good.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, if you have a faulty memory. So let's look at textile. What's up with textile? Let's pull it up. Okay. It's taking a bit of time to load here, but just bear with us.
That
now.
HTTP.
That
HTTP.
Yeah, if
so
this was
slow.
an IPFS network, it would be a lot faster.
So much quicker.
What is going on?
I think your computer's probably just running too many things.
It probably is. I have to get a new computer, and I'm going to get one soon. Wow, that is slow. Or maybe it's the site, because it's a .io. Let me see. I'm going to click on the Fleek one.
That doesn't have much to do with it.
Hey, I don't know. This one's loading a lot faster. So it might be the way that this site's built, because this one's still loading. So it might be the site. It's definitely the site.
It won't do anything with the domain name.
So let's look at build on the new internet. See, we called it the new internet. So
we're now completely
I'm so
off.
pumped.
We're on the right track.
We're on the right track. We're hitting gold. So Fleek makes it easy to build websites and apps on the new open web, permissionless, trustless, censorship resistant, and free of centralized gatekeepers.
Wow.
Praise IPFS. Let's go,
nice.
baby. And Fleek. Pricing. Let's see the pricing.
Pretty attractive string of words there.
Yeah, for real. Like, after all what's been going on in 2020, all features from basic 3+ team members. Okay, $0 a month. Awesome. Okay, cool. So it's not. There's a free version. We should probably, dude. I'd love to make. You can make like a Facebook on IPFS because it's such a new internet. You could just pull a China and just like scam all of those.
Just put an Alibaba on the web.
Yeah, you just have to pay people to host it, which is like, well, you're going to pay for it anyway when you host a website on Amazon Web Services. You know? So
that's true. That's a good point. All right. Well, I think we pretty much covered the whole comment.
Yeah, we get into IPLD later and IPNS. It seems like
we
those
can
are
make a separate video.
Yeah, those seems like very much.
I have no idea what those acronyms even stand for, so definitely would like to start learning more. But big shout out to Ryan Haney. Really appreciate your comment, man.
Yeah,
learned a lot. Hope you watch this and are more impressed with the lack of misleading comments.
Or not, whatever.
Or not.
But we were able to inform the community. And thanks so much for your comment. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, check out our merch, link in the description. It really helps. And stay woke to the new internet.
Peace.
Not like woke, but like just be aware, guys.
Peace again.